it's time to open the meeting, and thank you for all your attendance. I'd like to pass on my thanks to Brent for chairing that last meeting. Gave me an opportunity to get away on a break. So any apologies?
Mr. Peter Ellis, Madam Chair.
Sorry.
Mr. Peter Ellis.
Yes, Mr. Peter Ellis, and I'll put in Brent's apology as well, because he did say that he would try to make it. And welcome, Tim, to our Zoom meeting.
But I'll move those two apologies, Chair.
Thank you. Seconder?
Yes, that'll be fine.
Ross, thank you. All in favour?
Aye.
Aye.
Carried. Thank you. Declaration of interest? No declarations of interest? Great. And we'll pass the public forum. So confirmation of the previous minutes. Any discussions from those minutes? Nope. So can I have a mover and a seconder? Steve, move it. Seconder?
Yeah,
Yeah, Ross Menzies. All in favour, say aye.
aye.
Against? Right, passed. So I was just chatting to Renee this morning about the report on the golf course at Ahuriri. So Renee, can I bring you on board, and would you be able to give our group a background of this recommendation?
Certainly. So we've been working for quite some time to get the authority over the rest of the land so that we could actually grant a lease to the Otamatata Golf Club. And checking back on the file, this has been going back right to the mid-80s to try and organise this lease. So we've made some really good progress recently. And although this isn't required in order for it to be vested in council, it would be normal practice for council to be aware of the potential vesting in it. So the plan from here is, if council does agree for the land to be vested in council, we can then grant a lease to the Otamatata Golf Club. That also gives them security of tenure going forward.
Yeah, I spoke to Hugh Cameron about it, and he's the president or club captain, and he was saying it, and we're well aware of it, and as locals, that the golf club is kept in really good order. They've got some very good volunteers. They've sow in the ground. They water. They're an absolutely, dedicated team to keep a major recreational asset in our town. So his words to me was, they would like some sort of ownership of the property before they spend a lot of money in upgrading the irrigation and that sort of thing. And it only makes sense that if the club is very active and we can utilise that for future generations, then they need to have some common grounds to say that they're looking after their own properties. So Renee's done a wonderful job on this. Every time I see something like this, I cringe and think, oh no, one of those. So, and I will admit that I felt that I might have a conflict of interest in this, because 50 years ago, that land was part of the family lease for with Rostreva. So, but 50 years gone, and I can see a real plus in this recommendation. So, anyone else like to discuss it? No.
I have a small concern here on page 14 of the thing. We have a word in here, the word ownership. is used and it's incorrect. We're going from the 4th paragraph from the bottom of page 14. It refers to transferring this land, first of all, to dock ownership. It's on our agenda and it makes us look like a pack of country hicks. The word ownership should not be there. It can be replaced with management or can be taken out altogether. It's wrong.
Sort the investor management of all from 202 to Waitaki District Council sought the investor management of all golf course land to protect the existence of golf course. So
No, that's not it. I don't think I'll get it again.
I think in the end, the fact that the golf course is using it as part of recreational issues. I did speak to Renee about the fact that council maybe would be required to maintain and manage the land within the limitations of the Reserves Act 1977, but with a really strong club and a reason to keep the club going and the strong membership. I doubt.
Sorry, Madam Chair, if I can butt in there, that's not the problem. I've got no problem with the land being transferred all the way that you're suggesting. Page 14, the 4th paragraph from the bottom reads, in June this year, section survey order, etc., both the red and the green, was transferred from lands to dock ownership. The word ownership following dock should not be there. Dock does not own any land. They're forbidden to own land. And the word ownership should not be there.
Well,
if that is taken out, it'll make it look as though we're a bit more educated than if it was left.
I think it comes down to the options 1 and 2, and yeah, as far as I'm concerned, anyway, that's what we're voting on. So,
okay, I'm talking about accuracy of minutes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we can get that reworded, but we need to come to the summary of options considered, and I appreciate your comments. So can we have a mover and a seconder?
Wait. Chair, before you move on, there are 3 hands up here plus mine.
Sorry,
so
yeah, there are. Yeah,
do the hands 4, sorry.
Yeah, okay, so Steve, what can we say to you? Are you muted? I think you might be muted.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah. I'm in favour of passing that land on for a lease to the golf club. But I just wondered, Renee, whether you're able to answer the question about the border, how the wetlands borders onto it. Have those boundaries been considered or looked at, and how we use the wetlands and what its ownership and tenure is as well? Has that been looked at?
No, I'm sorry, it hasn't, Steve, not as part of this process. We've just solely focused on the Otamatata Golf Club.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, the wetlands does have an agreement with the council, and then of course there's that wee piece of meridian land at the bottom there that is part of their generation. Is that what you call it, Renee?
Yeah, it's the operating easement.
Yeah. Okay.
I've read the agreement. I've actually got a copy of it somewhere, but yeah, I just sort of mention it, in relationship to this one, because the block of land is basically the same, isn't it? I think it's just the 2 pieces that are used differently. That's all.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, used well. So Roger, what can we do for your hands up?
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify whether Renee wanted the opportunity to comment on that word that was being questioned by board member Ross Menzies.
So it was transferred from Lynn's to Doc. We can simply take out ownership if that satisfies Ross's concerns.
Yes, indeed it does.
Yeah. Thank you.
Accuracy of minutes is quite important.
Okay, thank you, Renee. And Jim, are you?
Thank you,
I
Vicky.
think you-
Yes, no, thank you, Vicky. Look, it's just a question on the board's behalf in a way. When matters like this, when leases like this come before council, often if there's a community interest or likely to be some community interest, there's a resolution that says that officers will negotiate, or that the chief executive has delegated responsibility for negotiating the lease, whichever wording, but that the lease will come back to council for final approval. Now, I'm just wondering, it's really a question on your behalf, would the board want to see the lease and sign it off before it becomes official, or are you happy just for it to be done by officers and left between them and the club? Or would you want to have that last final opportunity to just look at it and say, yep, happy with that, let it go? That's really my question. It's a question on your behalf, that's all.
Thank
And
you,
Gary
Jim.
and Ross know that the council sometimes does that. It reserves the right to have a look and the final say on the lease before it's signed.
Yeah. Do you want to make any comment to that, Gary or Renee?
I think it's a pretty straightforward matter. It's, I mean, we're not proposing a commercial lease or anything like that. It's going to be a fairly straightforward transaction. And in this case, you know, I don't think it would be something council would ask to come back. I mean, it's already, the decision has to go ultimately to council. If it then comes back to the community board and then back to council again, it's just doubling up the time. I'm pretty happy that our guys will sort it out, and you'll make the recommendations through to council. Our ones will sort it and it'll be done and dusted and on to the next thing.
I feel the same. It's been treated as a golf club for many, many years. It's just a matter of ticking the box, and Renee's done a wonderful job to make that work for all parties. So thank you for that, Renee. So Ross McRobbie.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I'm happy to move recommendations 1 and 2 as per page 13.
1 and 2, or just 2?
Just
Well,
two.
Just 2
well,
on page
yeah.
15. Yeah.
Option 2, Ross. I think.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, correct. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong page. The recommendations are on page 13 that the ACB recommends the first one and the second one. Now, is that different to what's on 15? I'm not up to 15 yet.
Yeah, either 1 or 2. But
Oh, sorry, option 2. My apologies.
Two is preferred.
Option 2. Sorry.
Yeah.
Pardon me,
Yeah.
I'll move that.
Ross,
So you'll move that?
sorry, Madam Chair.
Yeah.
The recommendations are option whatever it is. So Ross is correct. He's moving the recommendations as they are, which is option whatever it is.
Yeah, 2.
Perfect.
Sorry about it.
You're right.
Thank you, Gary.
I'm only happy to second that motion.
Yeah, okay, so all in favour?
Aye.
All right.
Gary. Thanks once again, Renee, for that.
You're welcome. Thank you.
So we're up to the assets update, section 6, page 17. So there's quite an intensive report. It's great to see so much going on in our area, particularly the water mains in Otamatata. It's certainly a lot of work going on there. Marama drinking water. The roading team for the A2O and the Duntroon area with the parking controls outside the hotel there. It's and of course the toilet. How wonderful is that? So yeah. So has everybody read that report, and any questions, any discussions?
Chair, could I just make a suggestion? Someone either has a radio on in the background because there's something's happening. I don't know what it is. So
Not
if
me.
anybody's got a radio on, could they turn it off, please?
Might be Ross.
I just can't hear properly. That's all. I'm not that deaf.
Guilty party may exodus.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ross.
Thank you.
I'll have a word to Paul Lynch. He's on the telephone.
No, thank you.
Yeah, no, that's cool. So has anyone got any? It's a great report. It covers all our Waitaki Valley, and it's interesting to note of what's going on in the other areas. It'll be interesting to see how the camping grounds go this year with the parking down by the river. And personally, I'll be pleased to see that that's got some control over it, because that river's definitely not easy to control when it floods. The Locklead liquor ban is going to be a new process for us all. Any discussion on that report? No.
What about, is the Alps to Ocean part of that discussion, or do we come up for that again later on, Ricky?
Well, no, what part? This is page 35. You're talking about the Alps to Ocean, the safety barrier at Little Awakino.
Yeah.
There's two parts, Madam Chair. There's another more specific recreation
there
report,
is, yeah.
42. So it's the report up to page 41. So that's what you're looking at.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Did you want to comment on that, Steve, or do you want to leave it?
I'll comment on it further through. That's the next. The Alps
Okay.
comes up down further again, I think.
Yeah. I'd like to also pass on my thanks to Lucy Ann for all the work she's done up the valley. She's still sort of semi on board, but she certainly, I even often see her popping up and down the road on a regular basis. So she's certainly done a lot of work in our area. Okay, so do I have a mover and a seconder for this report?
I'll move that, Madam Chair.
Okay, thanks, Ross Menzies. And
No,
a
yeah.
seconder,
I'll go second, thanks.
Steve Delly. All in favour, say aye.
Aye.
Carried. Okay, just scroll through the thing. So we're on 6.2, page 42, the recreational update from Eric. And yeah, so do you want to discuss the A2O issues there, Steve?
Yeah, it's just going to turn into a perennial for me. Obviously, still no wording or nothing going forward with looking at moving the trail to the Otamatata side of Lake Aviemore. How do we keep that within, brewing in the background of the minutes, if you like?
Gary, can you give us some background on that? Is there anything sort of been muted about it? I know it all takes time and it's finance and that sort of thing, but
Sorry, could you, what was that referring to? I was just getting
yeah,
into
the
an email.
A2O, well, we're more or less talking about it being brought over from on the air side of the road. So,
Otamatata to Aviemore.
yeah,
Yeah.
the Otago side.
It's certainly something that Ross and I keep pushing every opportunity. I think the last update from Eric was there have been bits and pieces of work being done along the way, and it's got to fit in with what else they're doing. So I think the thing we're waiting on is actually the clearest step of here is the proposed route. But I think there's discussions are happening with some of the landowners. At least the good thing is there's not too many of them along that way. And the last he said was a bit of progress happening. But we can make sure he has a more complete report in the next agenda.
Yeah, I support that, Gary. Thank you for bringing that up.
So I see Jeremy Hawker, we haven't had an opportunity to meet him. He's going to be the casual recreation officer. Is he on board now? Gary or Ross? Is Jeremy working in that area at the moment, or?
He's doing elements work. I'm not sure specifically what, but yeah, Lucy Ann's been transitioning off the work he has been doing and doing the handover. And there's things like organising the Alps Ocean Partnership meeting and so on, which I heard today is scheduled for the 21st of October. It's a move from what it was going to be, but yeah, there's things happening, and we can pass on to Eric that is there an opportunity for Jeremy to catch up with some of you when he's up the valley.
That'll be great. I'll send him an email and yeah, that's good. Thank you for that. Any further discussions on the recreational update? No. So can I have a mover and a seconder?
I'll move it. There you go.
Thank you, Steve. Yep.
I'll second.
Yeah, Ross Menzies. All in favour? Say aye.
Aye.
Carried. Okay, so the next one is the financial update. I was emailing in Wells and yeah, the $5,000 for the Kurau Museum is quite straightforward, and I wanted to fund, Gary, you might be able to help me on this one. The community grants are under other. We have 41,178 in that, and we've been told reasonably regular basis to spend some of that money. We had a hit at the discretionary fund last year or last season, and the other, does some of that go towards community grants?
I think that's the, actually no, look, I'll need to double check on that one. I'm sorry, if I asked you, I might get it mixed up with the discretionary fund. So one of the things we can get is a bit more clarity around that one. I'm not sure if anyone else on the call might be aware of that one. I can go away and because I'm zooming from the office and just get a quick answer on that one if possible.
Yeah, I did speak to Ian Wells this morning via email, but you know, we're taking that money off our ratepayers, and to have it sitting in an account building up, I mean, I'm not going to go out and do a shopping spree or anything, or our board's not going to do a shopping spree, but I'd like to have some clarity on how we can spend it and how we can use it to help our communities. So
yeah, no, absolutely. And yeah, there's definitely projects out there which I'm sure would benefit from it.
There is, yeah.
I'll go and see if I can get a bit of clarity before the end of this meeting.
Yeah,
so
perfect.
I'll be back shortly.
Yeah, thank you. So any further discussion on the financials?
Do you want to just talk at all about the perhaps the fence, the park fence?
I thought that we have got funding set aside for that. We've had it. Okay. I think it was $12,000 nearly 3 years ago, and hence the design of fence. We were going to put up one similar to the tennis courts, and but your community development program was just coming on board, and we thought that maybe that might have been included in that. So and we understand it takes time and everything, but in the meantime it's getting to a point where we really do need to seriously look at putting a fence up there for the safety of our children at the playground. So and I've seen with my own eyes a young child running out on the road there. Yeah, maybe we could get together as a board, and I'll find out exactly how much finance we've got in the kitty for that, and then we can meet at the park and make a decision. Eric said he would be happy to come up and talk to us about it as well. So
Good.
If everyone's happy with that. Yeah.
Yep. Get it
Okay.
done. Spend
So-
the money.
So can I have a mover and a seconder for that report, please?
I'll move that financial paper.
I'll second it.
Thank you. The two Rosses, Ross Menzies and Ross McRoby. All in favour?
All right.
Aye.
Right. Carried. Thank you, guys. So the building consents. It's a great report, this. It's well presented, and it living up here and seeing all the houses going on. I recall many years ago, you're lucky to get one house being built in the area, but seeing all the development that's going on, it's certainly very interesting. So, any discussion on that from anyone?
Madam Chair, I'd just like to point out the word bullying consents issued. I think that should be building consents issues. I just didn't think we were all bullying people into consents and consents.
Yeah, we'll get that changed. Yeah.
Just proving that I have read the papers. I thought you might have picked that up, Jim.
No, I never picked it up. I was too busy looking at the values.
Yes, me
Oh.
too.
Far too polite to actually raise such matters in a board setting, Ross. Council, yes, the board, no.
Okay, bye now.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's a great report. So can I have a mover and a seconder, please?
So yeah, I'll move that, Vicky.
Yep, Steve Daly. Yeah, Ross McRoby. Thank you. All in favour, say aye.
Aye.
Carried. So we're to the reports in 6.5. Most of my activities, this is my report I'm looking at, most of my activities are sort of being done in the house and via phones and Zoom. So it was very rewarding. Fortunately, Ross McRoby was at conference and I got the opportunity to attend the Hurrah Volunteer Awards evening and dinner, and on behalf of our area, and it was great. It was very humbling to see what wonderful service these people do. And the St John's were there, and the police were there, and they got the awards were all handed out, and we had a lovely meal. And so thanks, Ross McRoby, for going to conference, and I stood in your place.
Yeah.
The wellness point, some of these are different aspects, but the ladies from Lake Ohau, they're having, they've got all the families, all the residents have got a lot on their plate up there. And, there's not only the fact that they've got to replace their homes, it's all the red tape we've got to get through, and for them to use Ohau as a place of rest and enjoyment, it's become a tough place for them. So the Ohau ladies are going to have a wellness retreat. Actually, it's coming up this weekend, so hopefully they get to that, and COVID rules won't stop it. So it'll be interesting to get some feedback from that one. So
Roger's got his hand up, Vicky.
yeah, sorry. Yep.
Roger's got his hand up.
Roger, I'm looking at my notes, sorry. Yep.
Yeah, that's okay, Madam Chairman. Just wanted to also note that the Ohau Wellness Women's retreat or session was also received some funding from the Mayoral Fund in relation to that event as well.
Yeah. Yep, that's true. That's very true. Thank you. So
Excuse
any
me,
other? Yep.
it's Tim Mueller here from Lake Ohau. My understanding is the Ohau ladies wellness gathering retreat has been postponed because of COVID. I'm not quite sure what the exact date is. Mary, do you know?
I think it's going to be early November.
Right.
Right. That's wonderful that they've
but
rescheduled.
Obviously they'd be very keen for your support, and so we look forward to that.
Yes, thank you very much, Tim, for that update. Attending the council meeting on the 10th of July was awesome. there was 3 issues: the alcohol ban at Locklead and the confirmation of the Duntroon public toilets location and the upgrade for Kurau Whaling Lodge. Unfortunately, I had to leave before the Whaling Lodge come up, but I heard it was very emotional, and the design of the lodge is incredible, and it's going to be a major asset. We'll probably go into competition with the Oamaru one, you know, and I've already thinking about booking my room, you know, so it's very exciting. Thank you to the council for that. It's going to be a major asset to our community. So yeah, so anything else?
My apologies for not getting a report in. COVID my commercial property business into chaos or slightly, so I haven't got it. It won't happen again next time. I'll go one next meeting.
No, it's all good. I felt that a lot of us had leave and the lockdown sort of changed things somewhat, but yeah. So can I move that my report be adopted? Thank you, and I'll have a seconder. Thank you, Ross Menzies. All in favour? Say aye.
Aye.
So if I just go through the community board councillors' reports, and Ross, would you like to add anything verbally to?
No, nothing really, other than you may have read in the last week that I've been appointed chair of the Geopark Trust.
Yes.
And that's a governance role, as my role representing council on that trust, with Mel Jones, who's the other council appointee, and there are 2 other appointees from Runanga, both Trevor McGlinchey and David Higgins, and 2 other trustees. Plus, we now have 2 advisory trustees, and so my involvement in that has just really started. And one of the major points from the last meeting was the completion of the strategic plan, which I have in front of me here, for 2021 to 24, and with 4 key focuses. I won't bore you with all the minute detail, but environment, community, visitor, and economy are the 4 headings, including people and the various platforms that we will be using and the processes around it. So subsequent to that, I've asked 3 members of the trust to form a fundraising subcommittee, and I've also asked Jared and Mike Gray, and including myself, to form a group to discuss how Vanished World and the trust might look at working more closely together going into the future. We haven't met yet, but that's been formally approved by the trustees. And there's quite a lot to do now with Jared's resignation. I'm not quite sure where that sits in terms of support, but at this point, he's there for another month, so we'll work that out in due course, what's going to happen there. But no, I'm looking forward to that. As you know, my role will finish at the end of the triennium anyway, and so if there is another candidate that comes along that would like to take on the chair, then my duty would be to step back and let that person take the chair's role on from the trustees. So all in all, it's all good, and it's nice to be part of it at a governance level that I can have a little more influence on, if you like, in terms of what it should be doing moving ahead in the future. Helen Jansen, the previous chair, stayed on, and she's now a trustee, which is very valuable because she's got a wealth of knowledge. And so with our new marketing material that will come out very shortly, that will should just show the connection between us and our Runanga, the Runanga, about how we bring all the people in the land together in this one document. So it's a very good document. I haven't got a coloured version of it, so if I did, I'd show you the new logo, and which was designed with major help from Ngāi Tahu, and very much appreciated. So it's a very good connection. We've got very good relationships with Ngāi Tahu and improving it almost every day. So that's really good, really, really good. But anyway, look, that's just that at the moment. Thank you.
Thank you, Ross. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, Steve, have you got I know I realise the community-led development program was sort of presented to your ORAI on Saturday. Have you got any update on that or any progress?
Yep. Our last application for funding from the DIA was approved in full. So that was around 89,000, I think. That will complete the planning through till the tender stage for the works. So Paddy Baxter from Baxter Design is currently finalising that, working on that in the background. And that's for 2 of the projects. That's for the community park and for the wetlands, the new tracks at the wetlands.
Perfect.
So I mean, I don't know about a time frame, Mark, because we've seen a few of those go by. So when he completes the work, we'll have the council will be included in the final part of that discussion as well. So that will come through over the next month or 2.
Perfect, thank you. And Ross Menzies, you got anything to add?
Yes, okay. I didn't put a report in because I keep getting them thrown back at me. I would like to point out, pardon me, this directive we got on sending everything to council on PDF. It's going to come up and bite people in that place, and it's going to be very troublesome. This is not what a PDF format is supposed to be for, and we can see it straight away in our agenda today, all the empty pages, and that's been caused. No, excuse me.
You and I discussed this, Ross, and I think that what we should do is get together and go down and meet the governance side of it and Roger and discuss the issues, and we can get it sorted for the next meeting.
Wow.
Is that okay?
Well, that'll be fine, yeah.
Okay then. All right.
It's not going to worry me for very much longer, as you know, and everything that I've been doing, I've been reporting to you anyway. So,
no, that's cool. But have you got anything else to? Have you got anything else to discuss?
No.
You're right.
Yeah.
Perfect. So now, Gary, your report. I've heard it and read it.
It's getting a little dated now, but I can give a bit of an update on things.
Please.
I just wonder if you want to move and second the receipt of the previous reports, because this is a different agenda item.
I will, because I was looking at it thinking, do I do that or don't I? So thank you for your kind advice. So can I have a mover and a seconder that those reports be accepted?
Yeah, I'll move.
Okay, thanks, Steve. Thanks, Ross. Yeah, cool. And all in favour, say aye.
Aye.
Carried. Okay, Gary.
So so thanks very much for taking the time to read it, Vicky. Probably the updates will be just around, like, for example, Three Waters. We're in the 8-week process at the moment around getting together feedback from council to the government on the proposal, and council's had a workshop today on that. 3 or 4 hours of absolute delightful time spent together, and really just going through, what are our concerns, what are the things we support, what are the things we don't support, and what are the things we need more information on. So looking at all of that, it is our absolute intention to consult with our community on what it will, what the move entails, and if we were to go ahead with it, what that would mean, but also what would mean if we don't go ahead with it, and get their feedback from that. So that's the next stage. But a big question mark about how long the government's going to let us have for that. So that's one of the things that we need more information on. So Our guys have done our audit team's done a really good job putting together the information so far, but there's a lot of moving parts on that one, and it's quite a major distraction to so much else that we do. As you'll be aware, we've announced a review into economic development and tourism delivery. So just looking at how we are delivering those things at the moment and whether we've got the right setup for that. And as Ross mentioned before, Jerry Quinn has given in his resignation. So that sort of opens up the opportunities, I guess, to have an even bigger look at how we deliver economic development for the Waitaki district. Just note the anniversary is fast approaching for the 1 year since the Lake Ohau fire. And we've asked that community what we can do to help acknowledge that year that's passed. There's certainly some opportunities, and we're getting a bit of feedback on how they might want to recognise that, and I'd expect that the community board would be involved, obviously, in that as well. And so we've asked a couple of the main groups there for some feedback. Just acknowledge Tim Mueller on the Zoom as well, and thanks very much for all of the support you've given along the way as well, Tim. It's much appreciated. Just on Duntroon, our guys got really enthusiastic about not just the toilet design and location side of things, but also the traffic management issues that are in Duntroon, and sort of shot on without us knowing that they were talking about the wider traffic matters. Now, I know Ross and I have both been pretty hot on getting something sorted and getting a plan for that, but we want to be included in that, and that was one of the important aspects that there's been discussions again with the community, engaging with the community, and we're not involved, and it just creates problems when if the community pushes back against certain things, it just doesn't, we're not in a good position to actually know what's discussions have been had and where things are at. So we're looking to take a more active role in how we fix some of those issues. Coming to us next week at can't remember, it's the Assets Committee, I think. We're just looking at a potential extension to the Locklear liquor ban area. So extending along the lakefront a little bit more, not taking in the formal camping areas, excluding those, but some of the other areas. We haven't had any debate on that one, and I know there's some along that way. You'll get ones will pull into some of those areas and spend their day there boating from those spots, and just what that might mean for them over that weekend. But we'll have that discussion on it, and it's obviously just trying to manage the bigger problem, but we just got to be careful of what the consequences are that might come out of that. So we'll see how that discussion goes next week. That's about it from me. So thank you, Madam Chair. Happy to take any questions if there are any.
Yeah, any questions? Yeah. Right. Unfortunately, we haven't got Alec on board with us, but
Becky, sorry, I just have a question for Gary.
Yeah.
Did you find out about the discretionary fund of $41,000?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did, and apparently, I can make decisions on that, so I'll sort it out for you.
Just
kidding. No, we've just actually just got to clarify what the criteria actually are. Ian's usually really, really helpful, but today he wasn't. So it's getting an understanding of the difference between the community grants fund that you have and the discretionary fund that you have, and getting some clear criteria around that. There was discussion about a policy, but it's, in my mind, you want a bit of a policy there for some transparency, and so it's good expectations from the community, but actually you don't want it to be so rigid that it's very difficult for people to actually go through the process. We've got our community grants at the district level, and the idea would be if this is a similar type of thing, then how do you provide that more direct support to your community in the Ahuriri ward? And how does that work alongside? Do people have the opportunity to go to the council community grants and then also have another go at the community board community grants, which is from the same source? So it's a bit of a challenge, but anyway.
Thank you, Gary. Thanks.
We'll
follow that
get
on.
some better clarity.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Appreciate that. So, everyone happy with that report? Can I have a mover and a second?
Madam Chair, I'll move it.
Yeah, thank you. And a seconder, Steve. All in favour, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Aye.
I'm very aware too that there's only Ross Menzies has actually met Alec. Ross McRoby obviously has, so we'll have to make an opportunity to get the board members to meet him. He's certainly on a visit around the area. He certainly enjoyed the area, and he's. I'm sure it's going to be a great asset to our community. So, I've asked some of the.
Excuse me, Madam Chair, if I may.
Yep, Ainsley, how can we help?
6.7, if you'd like to give an opportunity for the rostered councillor and the rostered manager to speak.
Oh yes, yeah, I was going to come to that, but I had it in a different section. Sorry. Both. Yes, yeah. Is this where they speak?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right, Jim.
Oh, well, look, I think between them, Ross and Gary have covered all the matters that I would have mentioned. The only other one is, I think, the other big immediate issue in front of local government, other than the whole future of local government matter, is the changes to resource management and the three bills in front of Parliament at the moment. Personally, I think anyone interested in particularly, life in and working on land in provincial and rural New Zealand should be quite concerned. But there'll be, at the moment, there's only an exposure draft, which is a relatively short document. But I would urge the board to take an interest in the matter. And if Parliament does, as it threatened or said it would do, introduces a bill, Natural and Built Environments Bill, later this year, I'd recommend that the board look at making a submission. But I mean, other than that, I would simply endorse the comments that Gary made and about Three Waters and all the other matters on our plate at the moment, and also join with you in congratulating Ross on his elevation to chair of the Geopark Trust. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Appreciate that. Roger.
Yes, good afternoon. I mean, Gary has covered the one area that I was going to talk about, which was the any sort of commemoration event to mark the anniversary of the Ohau fire. So he's sort of covered that. That's there'll be more information come out in the next week or so as we get the various ideas back from the parties we've asked. We've also been in touch with the fire service around when they anticipate publishing the investigation report, and that's currently looking as though it's going to be mid-October. They had originally indicated to me that it might be in August, but due to various other events that have happened around the world, the standard delay reason being COVID-19. We've also got coming up, hopefully, if the COVID restrictions allow, the face-to-face meeting for the rural engagement sector in connection with the landowner engagement and the district plan. And we've got that rescheduled now for the 23rd of this month. to have our first meeting with the landowners regarding the layers proposed within the draft district plan. So hopefully we'll see some progress there.
Perfect, thanks. Our 10-year plan, you know, for quite some time I've been trying to get something done about it. Is so out of date, and I know the Wahimo board is in the process of getting some issues in it. I mean, even the photos are not updated. So maybe before our next meeting, Roger, I'm not sure whether it's still on the website, but it shouldn't really be on the website. We should have a word to say that it's been undergoing updating or something like that. But it hasn't. Last time I looked at it, we didn't even have the present board members on, and we've only really got a year to go before we things change. So could we arrange a time to discuss that, and maybe one of the board or a couple of our board members come in and we can make some progress on changing that?
Yes, no problem. You just let me know when you're coming to town next.
Yep. Thanks, Roger. Thank you. Yeah.
Madam Chair, could I suggest that maybe even just rather than waiting that long, perhaps setting up a Zoom sooner rather than later, just to address some of these issues? Yeah.
It's a great idea. Great idea. Thank you so much.
And Sherry, so if the photos are changed, that would help.
Yeah,
we've all had photos taken.
Vicky, do you want to liaise with probably Yvonne? Would it be, Roger?
Yes.
Yeah. Just sort out a suitable time, and I'm happy to be involved.
I'll send her an email and CC it to the board, and we'll get something done, because it really is. I mean, you know, with members coming and going with our board, and we've changed our mentor and that sort of thing, and there's been fires and all sorts of terrible things going on, and you know, just updating the document has just got put on the back step. So no, that's great, that's wonderful. Now
excuse me, Madam Chair, could you just make sure you copy that through to me too, please, because I can fix the website if you want me to do something with the
yeah, I'd like the document taken down anyway in the meantime.
Then I will pass that on to the website administration.
Okay, thank you so much, appreciate it. Yeah, 6.8 is the residents groups update. Unfortunately we got a late one in on Friday, and they actually had it processed. It was from the Amarama residents, and they had it processed, but they never sent it through because of the COVID and all that sort of thing. But Duntroon put on a great little one from Mike, and Lake Ohau Alpine Village residents have also put a report in. So it's important. As a board, we have a lot to do with the core side of our ratepayers, and it's important to hear what they've got to say. And I mean, you can't please everyone, but every town, we have 5 towns, and they're all different, and the personalities are all the same, in the sense that they're really enthusiastic and want to improve their area. So if we can, I would like to think that we don't have to have a report every meeting from every town, but I would like to think that we can include those, and people have the opportunity to read them. And if I've got any comments on that, yes, Ross.
Yeah, look, just a comment. Is it too late to informally table that Omarama report, or do we have to wait another 6 weeks to have it tabled?
Well, it's going to be out of date if we wait that long. So,
yeah.
Is there any way?
If I may speak to that, Madam Chair. Yes, it's too late once the meeting has started, but also the chair had said that she was going to pass them through over time, over meetings, so 1 or 2 per meeting. So I discussed it with the lead manager and my manager, and rather than at this time go through the process of adding a late agenda item to the agenda once it had been published, which we have to do under standing orders, which requires the chief executive to be involved, we thought it would be appropriate to just not table it for this one and to ask to invite the other group to submit one the next time. But by working with you, Madam Chair, I'd like to give you a date for those sorts of things to get to us, because
All right.
they need.
Well, if you send that to me via email, and I will work with my or with our residents groups, and the board will be aware of it. And yeah, I didn't ask for too much, but certainly what I've received from OHAL and Duntroon and even Amarama, they're great little reports, and they're a good opportunity for us to understand what's happening in their area.
Totally agree. Just would be good if we could just have how many do you want each time? And
well, well, we have 5 towns. So 5 reports would probably be too many, but we had an update of the community-led development program last time, and we haven't got one this time, but they're making progress. So yeah, I think we'll just I certainly will be looking for one from Amarama, an updated one, and one from Kurau, and maybe Steve will be able to tell me the timeline for the community-led development, or even the Otamatata Residents Association. So it's just keeping everyone informed of what's happening in their communities.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. It's just we do need to get them before the agenda is the deadline is closed, and when it isn't, then we have issues we need to work around. So it would be good.
Yeah, no worries. All right, so
just on that, Madam Chair, the governance advisor did discuss it with me as to the inclusion of a late agenda item, and we just did consider that in the context of all the other agendas that were being prepared at the time and trying to work from home under COVID restrictions, it was just the best thing to do. So I think if we can work to schedule the time frames for these individual reports to come in, so everybody's got those deadlines, it just makes everybody's life a little bit easier.
Okay. Right, no worries. All right, so do I have a mover and a seconder for the 2 reports presented on the agenda?
Excuse me, Chair, just before you do that, I just noticed with the OHAL one, and we've still got Tim on the line, is it appropriate to ask Tim if he wants to comment on it? Or was that not appropriate?
That's a great idea. Tim, did you want to mention anything about the report?
I haven't seen the report, so I can't comment on it. And I'm no longer part of the Resident Ratepayer Association, so I just thought I'd mention that, Vicky. I'm a on an interest basis, obviously a resident in the village, and I can't possibly comment on what was presented.
Okay, that's great. Actually, I should send you a copy of it. It's been well written.
Thank you, though, for asking. Appreciate that.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. So a mover and a seconder of those 2 reports, please.
No.
Ross and Steve. Yeah. Ross Menzies and Steve Daly. Yep. Okay. All in favour, say aye.
Aye.
Passed or carried. Okay, thank you once again for this wonderful Zoom meeting, and hopefully things will change, and we'll all be back to level 1 very soon. Okay, I officially close meeting.